colors in here. We worked on the buff color and we darkened it, and now we've got to get it a little bit darker, right?
Right.
So.
And remind us again how we make buff.
Well, I just mixed burnt sienna and permanent rose. Okay, and the buff color was just a mix of all the darks, but a lot of yellow in there. Remember, we did a glaze of yellow over everything? So if this is getting a little too heavy, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some water, put it down, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly hit over it. And there we go. Because there's some brights in here.
Maybe.
There can be. You know what? All we have to do is add more darks. If it's looking a little too muddy, what happens is, oftentimes what happens is we've got a lot of midtones and we have some highlights. To clean it up, all we have to do is add darks to it and it's like magic.
Good. Well, I hope that goes for the this.
Oh
as well,
yes,
'cause I am
absolutely.
so muddy.
Yeah, it works wonders.
It's great from a distance. She says. Yeah.
Casey said he looked like a cartoon character. I said, that's how he looks.
I think he's just
Yeah.
Me too.
the image. No, the image. Thank you. I went darker because Guy said to go darker last week. It took me a week to get up there. Does that tell you something?
Okay, now that it's all kind of damp, I can drop in more color.
That's fun.
Yeah. And get a little bit darker. And we've just got some little bits here and there. Just for now. That really helps settle it in. And now for the reflections. I'm going to use a bigger brush because I could be a little bit looser. And isn't it funny how the reflection is not as rich with color?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's kind of disappointing.
it's on the grayer side
Right.
of things.
So I'm just going to set in my color so it's reflecting. And just because it's not right in the reflection doesn't mean that we don't have to have color. I mean, we're not going to
there.
frame this with the picture right next to it, right?
But it is there.
Yeah. But as an artist, we can always choose to brighten things up.
Love how the color does reflect.
Yeah.
He's moving. It's just,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me. It's an optical illusion that he is moving. And the water's moving.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm just going to go up in here a little bit. Wipe that off. There we go. And now, while I'm here, I had a dark over here. So let's add some green to this. And this is that Windsor green blue shade. Makes a lovely, oh, I just love it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is work these Wunderbar feathers. First I'm gonna see how dark that is. Ooh, that's way dark. And I love this feather.
So that was a dark plus the Windsor green blue shade.
Well, the Windsor green blue shade with the reds and everything.
Yeah, the red and the green
Yeah.
and
Exactly, and it just got it darker. So I wanted to test that out because I'm gonna add a little bit of water so it's not as dark. Because we have to really darken in these feathers, right? And I've already lost my lights. So let's get this wetter. And I'm gonna try and save these lights. I'm painting around and trying to save them so it's wet everywhere else. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, so now I could drop some color in and it can move, and my whites are, ooh, I'm glad I checked before I stamped it. Let's be a little bit more, everything is drying so fast. Does this make sense? Okay, good. And it looks like it's deeper in here,
the lights on
and
the
then
top.
it's lighter out here. So I can pull. Can get this a little darker.
I'm just amazed how you use just the right amount of water.
You know,
And
it
paint
What?
and stroke.
Yeah.
it comes with practice, which you'll see. Really.
The more we do it.
But you
Yeah.
know, if we use those palettes like some of us have, that are like wells,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that. I mean, it's either wet or it's not wet. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to figure out how you're going to make that work. So look at, so I'll mix
Okay,
the color,
Yola, tell me.
but look, it's not super wet,
Yeah, I know.
right?
But if you're using a well, you're sticking your brush in there and it's gonna be super.
Well, look at, I have a well here, but I'm not sticking my brush in
I
it.
know, but on those round well things, you know, on those pallets.
Yeah,
You don't have an option of having a flat area like that.
okay.
You're either in it or you're out of it.
So get something else that's going to be more suitable
Well, that's
for
what I'm
you.
wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, you know, that when you go to the store, there are all those wells, except if you buy one like that, but I'm not gonna pay to have one for every color of
Yeah,
that.
it's
May I make a
Please.
suggestion? My brain continues to work sometimes. What if you bought one butcher pan and put dabs of all the colors that you're going to use on whatever particular painting you're working on, and then use your little wells,
Yes.
and then when it comes to mixing something dark, then you have your one butcher tray that has the little dabs in it and start playing.
Well, that's a very good suggestion. I have a butcher tray for black, my darks, and then I have one that I was gonna use for my pinks for that one rose. But when I have like yellow or whatever, I have it all by itself. But you're saying like put it in what I'm using
Just
for
like
the
the-
picture. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like
Right
what's
there.
here.
Yeah.
And what I did before I started painting, just for you too, by the way, I ran this underwater so that you can see me mixing the colors, because before it was super dark
Yes,
here,
right.
remember? So, God, these are really atrocious.
But it seems like a big flat pan like that's the key.
I
I
love,
It's
think
too
when
wet.
when we're painting small areas like
yeah, this is really
it's much
helpful.
better than those big
Yeah.
pans.
Yeah.
Than one color per
Well,
pan.
yeah.
Okay, now I want a gray, so I don't want to be too heavy, so I'm knocking it off, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing.
And how did you mix your gray, red and green?
No, so I just pulled this down and just took a little bit of this bluish gray here,
Oh,
mixed it
okay.
with, and dipped it in water, and then just hid it on the paper towel.
Okay.
So I have a nice, lovely little gray in here, and I'm just going to go ahead, thick and thin, thick and thin, thick and thin, thick and thin.
And you can only do that properly if you don't have a lot of water in your
Exactly. And now, gonna do the same thing, but I wet my brush and picked up a little bit, because we had those lines. Now we've got circular movements in here. And I have a lot of pencil lines here, but
You don't see them from a distance.
and especially not when we put gray paint right next to it.
What a concept.
Yeah. I love this stuff, but I'm so ready for something new.
brush.
So
Get it
is
over with.
the geranium hot pink?
You know what?
lavender.
What's really fun about the geranium, and kind of what I was just talking about, just because the reflection doesn't have color that matches this, doesn't mean we can't do it. What I think is going to be fun about the geranium, pelargonium or whatever, is that we can make it any color we want. So we're going to go for the structure. We can make it orchid, we can make it pink, we can make it red, we could do whatever we want. And I think that is a good lesson in versus trying to match exact colors. And you're more than welcome to, of course, match the colors, but
I think a geranium is hot pink or red. If it's a geranium, have you seen it?
there's white ones, there's so many different kinds. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna stop. I'm having a hard time stopping. Okay, stop, mister.
Why are you going to stop?
Because I want you guys, should I just keep going?
How's that?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go to the front of the duck now with the same color. So look at, I'm dipping in water, picking up a little bit of gray, knocking the excess water off, and right up here, it's like he's got a marbled breast. So I'll lay, do you see how I laid that brush down?
Oh yeah.
And you can fill that in, and there's these little patterns. And I'm just gonna gray up that edge because that masking fluid left a taupe-ish color that I'm not happy with. So see how I just lay that down, and then, and you notice I haven't gone in